the fire vehicles, including campgrounds throughout the western areas. Those conversations ongoing. So we did put a list for over in demand suppliers in several other counties. Even with the extreme weather, we really look at that every day as we go forward. As you said, we don't make the foreseeable forecast, so we have to do the pre-planning, if you will, but also the day-by-day decisions as weather and wind patterns to change.
And we've already had more fires, quite a few more fires at this point in the fire season compared to even just last year. For fire crews, that's got to be concerning. We have heard that they're asking for firefighting aid from other parts of Canada and even in the U.S. And how much does that concern you, even as we talk about preventing fires, but staying on top of them and being able to put them out through the course of such a season?
So you may actually be surprised with our response. The aspect of drawing in resources from another province is not really concerning to me. It's sort of like a mutual aid atmosphere that we have with other provinces in Canada belonging to a national group that supports each other during these times. And so we were very much receiving support last year when the fires down towards Dartmouth. With water bomber from Newfoundland and vice versa. Last year we also sent crews to Newfoundland. So it's very much a changing day-to-day process where we share resources within the provinces. Yesterday we saw resources coming in from Brunswick and Newfoundland to assist us with what's taking place. And unfortunately we know now that New Brunswick also has their own wildfire that they're dealing with and spot fires in different areas. So it's an ever-evolving situation where we communicate with our agencies and other provinces to make sure each province has resources that are needed on the ground and also in the air.
And given what's happening in Alberta and the Northwest Territories and other parts of Canada, those firefighting resources may be well stretched over the course of the summer. And so at this point, is it 12 fires that we have, and what's the latest on those in Nova Scotia?
So yeah, no, I know there's three fires that are considered out of control. The various in Quebec and one in HRM in the 10-gallon area. The other small fires, and we'll need to have an update from staff at 9 o'clock as they evaluate all the information that's coming in from our burning evaluations.
And so these are 2,200 hectares was the last we heard about the Shelburne County fire. Given that it's out of control, what are you anticipating in those updates?
Well, look, the weather pattern, as you indicated and I've spoken about, doesn't look favorable for today again. I know we're on that county right now. The wind has certainly picked up this morning since the sun has risen. I'm actually on my way to Shubenacadie to meet with some of the staff there and do an evaluation and go from there. So I'm expecting today, as I think Scott had the conversation with you earlier in the morning, that today could be another rough day, but we have resources and they're being implemented as we speak.
What are the challenges around the wind shifting direction? We're hearing it's coming in, not in a southerly direction, but out of the northwest today. It'll be a little bit cooler, but what challenge does that pose for firefighters as the winds flip around in the way that they seem to be doing, Minister?
Well, certainly it can certainly take and carry the fire very quickly, as we saw yesterday with all the fires that were activated yesterday. The cooler temperature, I understand from the fire staff that they can certainly assist with the combat of the fire, but with the mix of the wind, it's certainly going to be a challenge. But look, we have a great team here in Nova Scotia, supported by some great members from New Brunswick and Quebec, and I know they're doing everything that they can. I know the municipalities and all of their stakeholders are doing everything they can, and it is going to be a long haul. I don't think anybody's siding with the fact that this isn't going to be over with the snap of a finger. There's a lot of resources that are going into this, and we want to make sure that we can get things resolved in a quickly and timely manner.
All right, Minister, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, and just to close off, I just certainly appreciate all the efforts everybody's stepping up and assisting doing the Nova Scotia thing, and certainly our thoughts are with everybody that's impacted with their home and dwelling. So our thoughts are with everybody right now, and everyone stay safe.
Appreciate it, Minister. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
That's Tory Rushton, the Minister of Natural Resources, bringing us to 11 minutes before 8.
Well, Excuse me, just taking a look at some school closures today. We have some new school closures in HRM today. So from HRC, Five Bridges Junior High, St. Margaret's Bay Elementary, Sackville Heights Elementary, Sackville Heights Junior High, and Charles P. Allen. Those have all closed as of this morning. The closures in HRM that we already knew about: Bayview High, Hammonds Plains Consolidated, Kingswood Elementary, Tantallon Junior Elementary, Tantallon Senior Elementary, and Madeline Simmons Middle School. Also, we do have closures in the Tri-County as well: Forest Ridge Academy, Barrington Municipal High School, Hillcrest Academy, and Shelburne Regional High School.
Thanks, Matt. We've reached Dave Meldrum now, the Deputy Chief of Performance and Safety with Halifax Fire. Good morning, Chief Meldrum.
Good morning, Portia. How are you?
Well, I'm doing okay. How are you doing after what must have been a very long 24 or so hours?
We've got a lot of firefighters who have worked very hard and have done a lot of tremendous work over these 24 hours. So they're tired, but they're proud of their progress so far.
As they should be. So what happened overnight, if you can bring us up to speed on that firefight in the Tantallon area?
Yeah, so absolutely. So quickly recapping, folks know yesterday at about 3:30 we were called to a fire in the Westwood subdivision here in Tantallon. And it's a very dry, very windy day, and this fire started to move really fast off to the northeast. So it overtook, unfortunately, many residences and leaped over towards, in the east, the Hammonds Plains Road, and also went north towards Hawkwalk Road. So we were working real hard and protecting structures, some firefighters taking reasonable risks to hold on to those buildings in the daylight hours, looking forward to the nighttime. So at night, traditionally the winds drop a little and the humidity increases, which slows that fire down and gives us a chance to do some work. So we still had many crews from many fire departments overnight patrolling all of these neighborhoods and holding the fire, and they did a great job. I regret to let folks know, we know there are damaged buildings in the Yankeetown Road area around Hammonds Plains Road, but for the most part, that fire was held to the west side of Hammonds Plains Road by crews. Additionally, up north at the Hawkwalk Road, many fire apparatus and people up there holding that fire so that we kept it to the south of the Hawkwalk Road. We also protected the consolidated school for Hammonds Plains, and were able to shelter in place and protect the Whitehall Senior Care Facility. So we're continuing patrolling and holding on to what we got, if you will allow that term of phrase. Yes, and this morning we're joining forces with our partners from the Department of Natural Resources and Renewables, along, of course, with RCMP, DND, EHS, and we have many other fire departments here from places like Hansport, Windsor. I said DND already. Uniac are here, Brooklyn, and West Hand. So our friends and partners are here, and we're grateful for that.
And just going back to the Westwood neighborhood, we heard reports that streets were on fire, like whole streets, and that firefighters were having to choose which structures to save. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, or clarify?
Well, yeah, absolutely. The firefighters identify structures that they hope they can hold, and please appreciate that we are not wildland firefighter technicians. We are municipal firefighters, so we're more about buildings than we are about crowning forest fires. So they made those decisions on the spot in conditions of risk and limited visibility. And, reports from the line indicate that many properties were saved, others could not be saved.
And we heard the number 10 homes destroyed, or structures destroyed last night. Does that seem like a fair estimate or conservative?
We don't yet have the inventory of destroyed and damaged buildings, but I would suggest that they are numerous and are likely to exceed 10 in this entire fire area with certainty.
And what about now with the wind changing direction? What does that change for you, Chief?
Well, there's some good and there's some bad in that. Firstly, increased wind is always a problem. It's going to increase the rate of fire spread. The fire may, given the wind change, turn back on itself into the burned area, which can be a good thing, because once it's been burned, perhaps that's a little easier. But our DNR, our partners here, have indicated to us that this is what's called a dirty burn. It moved so fast through those areas that it actually left a lot of unburned fuel behind. So we could see increase in fire spread in the southerly directions. There are places that didn't suffer any fire, and we're going to make sure that this change in direction, we're going to do our best to prevent that from impacting other communities.
And we were seeing that at times fire crews had to pull back, for example, when there was a propane tank, for example, on a property. Was that what was happening in those minute-to-minute decisions?
Certainly there were at least one instance of propane tank danger for sure. Most of it's about the fire behavior. Once the fire starts to advance aggressively and quickly, and if it's crowning in the trees, it's really beyond our ability to control it. We can't be at what they call the head of a working forest fire or the front of it. We're just simply not able to operate in that environment. So, taking a stand and saying we think we can hold it here has to be done with a measure of, no property is worth the life of a resident or a firefighter. So many decisions were made for, I'll say, hasty withdrawals of our firefighters as conditions change.
And how confident were you as you were moving through those neighborhoods that everyone was out safely and there was an evacuation?
No, thank you. Could I get a sausage McMuffin with egg and a large coffee with 1 milk, please? Thank you.
And we're not seeing signs of any stay behind type activity, so we think we've got a good evacuation here.
Are you expecting to have to call more evacuations today?
Well, we simply don't know. It depends on how this fire progresses. Our good friends at DNRR have 2 helicopters and 2 fixed-wing air tankers coming to this fire today. So that's going to give us a much better picture of what's going on. Visibility yesterday was very difficult due to smoke. We get a look at this thing from the sky in a helicopter with our partners, and then if they can apply air tanker and helicopter water bombing to this, hopefully we'll hold this thing, because we know it's going to get windier and it's going to get drier this week.
And right now it's out of control, so your strategy at this point is the water bombers and then those on the ground as you were yesterday, hoping to get on top of it with those 2 main prongs to your attack?
That's right, and traditionally, and it's our DNRR will declare this fire under control or not, and we always work with them. Most often the way it gets under control is we actually get hose lines around all sides of the fire, and we get a nice wet barrier around all sides of the fire. This is big, this is bigger than most of us have experienced before, so this may be a little different, and it's going to take us quite a while to be able to declare this thing under control.
Have you yourself seen the NASA fire map of the situation?
No, I have not. My view's been a little closer.
Should Nova Scotia, in your view, Chief, have a fire map, an active and constantly updated one?
I certainly would advocate for more resourcing for wildland fires generally, and for mapping specifically, yes. We know this is increasing. Climate change and weather volatility is up, and we need all the intelligence we can get as we try to understand where fires are and where they might be moving.
Well, thanks to you and to your crews, and safety for everyone, of course, above all else. Chief, thanks for taking the time with us.
Thank you, Portia, and to the residents of HRM and all our supporting agencies. Thank you. This is a tough time. Our greatest thoughts and prayers go to those who have been evacuated and those who may have lost property. Let's all stay safe.
Absolutely. Thanks again. That's Dave Meldrum, the Deputy Chief of Performance and Safety with Halifax Fire. Ryan Pierce is here with some quick headlines. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, there was a new emergency alert issued just now for the Barrington Lake fire. The update there is that it's moving in a northeasterly direction further into the municipality of Shelburne from the municipality of Barrington, and the mandatory evacuation is for all communities between Port Clyde and Birchtown along Shore Road. We are hoping to get an update soon from DNR now that they've been able to get aircraft back up into the daylight and conduct an aerial survey Halifax area fire, and overnight the evacuation zone expanded into parts of Middle Sackville near McCabe Lake and the other side of Highway 101. A reminder, there is a local state of emergency in Halifax.
Thanks very much, Ryan. We'll be back with you right after World Report here on Information Morning on your CBC Radio and your CBC Listen app.
remastering old music, creating arrangements for the likes of Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. So why, in our interview, does Owen say he doesn't recommend a career in music at all?
This is now how I pay my bills. I've got to do this and pay my rent with it. It became such a stressful activity.
That's coming up on Q, followed by Commotion with Elamin Abdel Mahmoud on CBC Radio 1 and on the CBC Listen app. The CBC News is next. Coming up in half an hour, it's The Current with Matt Galloway.
There have been a lot of warnings recently about the dangers of artificial intelligence, but researchers have just used AI to find an antibiotic to treat a stubborn superbug, and they say the promise in medicine is huge. That promise coming up on The Current.
This is World Report. Good morning from CBC News. I'm Marcia Young. In about an hour, we will get an update on a dangerous situation in the Halifax area. 2 out-of-control wildfires are forcing thousands of people to leave their homes. The Halifax Regional Municipality has declared a 7-day state of emergency for affected areas. Here's Mayor Mike Savage.
Take it seriously, and particularly not to try to go back in because you think it might be over in your neighborhood. The way that this fire is, it's very dynamic.
Some schools are closed, some structures have been destroyed, and officials are asking for patience while first responders do their job. The CBC's Josepha Cameron has more.
20 kilometers north of Halifax, vehicles drove on pavement, escaping flames, burning through green trees on both sides. Near Tantallon, one of the areas under evacuation, RCMP ordered residents to leave.
It really struck home when I saw flames a couple hundred feet high.
Ian Vanderberg was one of those who had to flee.
And I was watching the water bombers go back and forth as I'm headed out. I could see the flames. I mean, they were tall. The smoke was very thick, very thick.
Tantallon resident Sean Boyu and his family took shelter at Winganet, a restaurant that opened its doors to evacuees.
I was just going shopping. I went back home with my son and I couldn't get back in their subdivision. We're told turn around and they're bringing me back.
Karen McCurdy is Nova Scotia's fire prevention officer.
As far as structures that have been impacted, there have been impacts in both the Barrington fire and the Tantallon fire in some capacity. But at this point, we have no idea to what scale.
McCurdy says unusually dry conditions are fueling the situation. The weather for the region today is cooler, but there is little rain in the forecast, with temperatures expected to approach 30 degrees midweek as those forced from their homes wait for their next instructions. Josepha Cameron, CBC News, Halifax.
In northern British Columbia, 2 regional districts have issued evacuation orders. The Donny Creek fire is one of the largest fires burning out of control in that province. It is affecting a remote area, mostly used by the oil and gas industry. The BC Wildfire Service says significant fire activity is anticipated this week. There is no rain in the forecast. It's voting day in Alberta. Leaders of the 2 main parties are promising low taxes and better health care. This is expected to be the closest election in the province's recent history. As Aaron Collins tells us, the final result could come down to voter turnout.
NDP leader Rachel Notley campaigning right down to the wire.
This is a close election. And, you know, it could come down to one seat. It could.
Well, that seat could be in Calgary. Notley's NDP pushing hard to pick up seats there over the weekend. The United Conservative Party also needs to do well in Calgary. Leader Danielle Smith has spent a lot of time there.
Let's go out and win this election, and we will see you at the victory party on Monday. Good night, everyone.
Pollster Janet Brown says the NDP are likely to sweep Edmonton The UCP are expected to dominate outside the two major centres, but Brown says Calgary remains too close to call.
We keep talking about battleground Calgary. That's where it's a close race. When you're up in Edmonton, you hardly even know an election's going on. But here in Calgary, there are so many lawn signs. I've never seen anything like.
Mount Royal University political scientist Wayne Bratt agrees and says voter turnout could decide who wins in Alberta's biggest city.
There could be a handful of ridings that are very narrow, and that's why the get out the vote effort is going to be so significant like we've never seen before.
Albertans in Calgary and right across the province head to the polls today. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Recep Tayyip Erdogan says there are no losers in Turkey's presidential election, but the vote count suggests the country is deeply divided. Erdogan took just 52% in Sunday's runoff against the opposition's Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. The victory will see the authoritarian leader begin his third decade in power. Freelance journalist Trent Murray has more from Istanbul.
Addressing thousands of jubilant supporters outside his Istanbul home, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan thanked the nation for re-electing him to office.
We said that we will win in a way that no one will lose. That's why Turkey is the only winner today.
Over at the opposition's CHP party's headquarters, the mood was very different. Their candidate, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, acknowledged it had been a difficult night, but refused to congratulate Erdogan.
We experienced the most unfair election in recent years. All the means of the state were mobilized for a political party. All possibilities were laid under one man's feet.
Early polls in this campaign suggested the opposition had a real chance at ending Erdogan's 2 decades in power. But voter caution over the uncertainty of a 6-party coalition and Kılıçdaroğlu's decision to turn sharply to the right on the issue of Syrian refugees, pledging to send them all home, appears to have cost him crucial votes in swing districts.